my friends, just in case you don't watch SmackDown Ups and Downs, yes, Simon Miller, that would be me, is super sick today. So it just means we have to do a little bit of a relaxed episode. Also, why aren't you watching SmackDown Ups and Downs? Why do you hate me? Otherwise though, yes, I am coughing my guts up because it is that time of year. However, the finger of power is healthy, and the finger of power never rests. So let's give the good bits enough and the bad bits a down when it comes to All Elite Wrestling's Rampage. So the start of Rampage was absolutely lovely because we did indeed have a graphic for Don West, who sadly passed away yesterday. And if you don't know who Mr. West was, he was the most enthusiastic TNA commentator ever. And he went from his first year, when everyone was like, man, who is this guy, to being an absolute beloved figure. So as always, all the best wishes to his friends and family. This was truly horrible news. Orange Cassidy versus Trey was then our first match for the All Atlantic title. And I like the fact that Orange has made Friday his night. This was far more than just friends fighting though, because there was loads going on here, as well as Chuck Taylor and Danhausen being on the outside. And at one point, Danhausen freaked out and didn't know what to do, didn't know whether to help Orange Cassidy or whether he wanted to help Trent. And when Trent went for a dive and kind of missed everyone, he went into the arms of Chuck and they gave each other a hug. So I stood up and I was like, yep, this is the best wrestling match of the year. I'm not kidding. They kept brawling on the floor as Orange was hurled into Barry Barricade. And this is when Trent was like, I've got a great idea for a move. I'm just going to run at him. Cassidy move out the way. And Trent went into Barry. And I was like, man, Baz, I hope you're getting double pay again because you're getting murked. And then back in the ring when all of a sudden they were going for their signature moves, but they were just reversing everything to the point we were going to see a pile driver, but we didn't. And we were going to see a beach break, but we didn't. And all of a sudden there was this Destroyer Sunset Flip thing. And Orange Cassidy was like, all right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit a DDT. And honestly, given that they were buddies, these two work well together. But then had this spinning tombstone, which always gets me, so I'm like, oh my gosh, he broke his neck. When Penelope Ford must have been watching from the back and decided, no, I don't like this very match. I'm going to go to the ring. And she started casting distraction. You know the deal with wrestlers. They can't handle that. If you even get in their vicinity, they will shut down as humans. Her focus was Trent too as she jumped on the apron. Trent was all like, why is she here? Why is she here? Somebody get rid of her. And I suppose the piece of fruit didn't know what to do, but he did zoom in. He did hit the orange punch, not once, not twice, and he got the 1, 2, 3. But this was a bit of a head scratcher because you were like, well, that wasn't a very friendly thing to do. I was right as well because Trent kind of stormed off after this as Kip Sabian came out and he was dancing his way to the ring. See, he's basically like the Joker these days. He is trying to drive a wedge between all of these people so we can run away with the All Atlantic title. Smart. So I think we should absolutely keep this going on Fridays because we've got the stories and we've got all the players and I'm intrigued to see where it's going to go. Better than all of that, it just feels fresh, like bread up. Kip was actually out because he was about to have a match, but before that, we went to the back where Tony Schiavone had done a pre-taped promo with Sting and Darby Allin. Now, Darby Allin was all fired up here because, of course, he is going after the TNT title on Dynamite, and he knows, like always, nobody thinks he can win, including Sting. And he even got in his dad's face here and was like, isn't that right, Pops? You don't think I can do it. Now, Sting kind of sat on the fence here because, as he said, I want to keep all that craziness in your eyes, so I don't want to give you an answer. And I kind of put my hand up like, Sting, you shouldn't do that. He's definitely going to hate you for it. These two are great though, and when we do that match, Darby Allin should win the belt, because then when we move into 2023, basically every single title is held by an AEW original. And I think that's very important. We were then back to Sabian after this, and I think he destroyed a guy called Ataba. I mean, I tell you, he destroyed him. Now, it could have gone more than a minute, and after he'd done his double stomp, Penelope Ford was like, haha, I stole one of Orange Cassidy's elbow pads. So she gave that to her hubby, who put it on, and then he took it off again, and he did his own version of the orange punch, and he pinned this guy for the 1, 2, 3. So that was shots fired. As we talked about on Dynamite though, I think Kip Sabian is doing great work at the moment. There's just this weirdness about him which comes across as truly, truly great, because he doesn't feel the same to anybody else. It makes me want to watch him. I think this program could be good though, especially because next week when it is Battle of the Belts, we are going to do Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy for that their championship. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I have a good feeling about it. Thankfully, Preston Vance was then on this show. I'm a little bit worried AEW forgot what to do with him. He was doing another interview too, and he told us that he changed his name to Pero Peligrosus. Thankfully I then realised, oh yeah, he's aligned himself with Roosh. That makes all the sense in the world. I just thought he'd gone crazy. And he wants to have a match next week against a big opponent to prove that he is an absolute superstar. Cargill's had quite a good line here. Where he's like, look, I tell you, if I had known insulting a child would have helped my career so much, I would have done it years ago. I don't think that's good advice. So I really do hope we try and build him for that 2023, because whether it works, whether it doesn't work, I'd just like to see attempts being made so we have the results. So I am going to give this an up, but I'm a bit worried that it is going to vanish. But let's try and manifest it into existence. Straight to another interview after this, because Tony Schiavone was in the ring with none other than Jon Moxley. This guy isn't going heel too. I don't know what the flub is happening, because he addressed Hangman Adam Page here and was like, look, before we did indeed meet in the ring, you'd beaten everybody, I'd beaten everybody. We were on a crash course to have a one-on-one, and when we did, what did I do? I knocked you out, and then when I went home that night, I slept like a baby, because that's what Jon Moxley does, and damn it, I'll do it again. He also admitted that this was given the fact that Page was in the hospital, and he was all like, listen, Adam, you're having a problem being cleared, so why don't I give you to the 12th of January, when AEW is in the Forum in LA, and if you can get signed off, we can do this match. So I've enjoyed this program muchly because they're just taking a real life situation and tying it into the story. Also, I really can't call who is going to win because Jon Moxley needs it and Hangman Adam Page needs it too. That's when you know you've got good stuff going on. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal then confirmed that they shall be taking on the Acclaim for the tag team titles on this week's Dynamite, which is totally cool as long as the Acclaim do win. When it was back to Jade, Cargill and the Baddies, and as I say most weeks, and it could be on me, I am a moron, I don't get it. Because we finally got the Kira Hogan versus Jade Cargill, which we should have done a while ago. While I never believed that Kira was going to win the TBS title, at least we tried here, including at one point when Jade went for a suplex, and Kira changed that into a devastating move in all of sports entertainment as a prize roll-up. Didn't work. It also kind of tied into Cargill's last match because she did hit Hogan with the pump kick, but Kira was able to kick out with two, which is not what happened before. But the main part is when they were fighting on the outside, and like we've just hinted at, I think the baddies are breaking up, but I don't know why. Layla Gray was holding Kira so Jade could smack her one, when Red Velvet came round the side, and she grabbed Cargill's hand like, nope, you're not going to do that, I don't think it's a good idea. She also stormed off after the match was done, and yet we were then told next week, Red Velvet and Jade Cargill are going to team together. And I was like, well, why the hell would they do that? Eventually, too, Cargill did reverse a suplex into the Jade and she got the 1-2-3. But quite clearly, we are breaking up this team and someone just wants to get it done double quick time. So it's just happening. People keep falling by the wayside. At one point, Excalibur was like, oh man, Jade Cargill has said she didn't trust Red Velvet recently. And I was like, I watch all of this programming. When did that happen? And again, maybe I missed it, but I tried really hard. I do want to make it clear that I think Jade Cargill is absolute money and the rest of the baddies have mega potential. I mean, Red Velvet has already proved that she can be a really good face or a really good heel. But I think I need some help with this one. That should probably never be the case when it comes to wrestling. Giving it a down. Quick Jamie Hayter video after this as she told us she's about to reset the women's division and take it to another level and that she doesn't care who Saray's partner's going to be in a few weeks. When we were back with Lexi Nair, who was chatting to Mark Sterling. Where has he been? He basically was sick of Bryan Danielson running down MJF though, who he now called his best friend, so they're buddy boys too. And given that they need to exact their revenge, Tony Nese, his other best bud, is going to take out Danielson on Dynamite. Now this is totally out of nowhere, but I am going to give it an up. That's just one of those matches that I do want to see. I promise you it will be good. We then did indeed get to our main event, which was Swerve Strickland taking on Wheeler Yuta. I liked it. And I do get that Rampage has a lot of matches like this, but I thought it really did serve a purpose because one, you want to get it over that Swerve Strickland is now a singles guy and a mega heel, but also two, you wanted to remind everyone else, oh yeah, Wheeler Yuta is a really good wrestler. That's how we started as well, with Wills being all like, look at all these grappling holds I do have, and he threw Strickland to the outside, where he too got in his last dive of 2022. Good for him. The problem now is that, of course, Swerve has boys, and they started casting distraction instantly, and because Wheeler Yuta is just another professional wrestler, he couldn't handle this either, and he got beaten up. Strickland then also decided, well, if I go after your leg, you're not going to be able to walk, and if you can't walk, you probably can't win a match, so he was just trying to rip it out of the joint. It's basically how he spent a lot of his time. I can only assume that Wheeler is some sort of shoe enthusiast and he likes tying his shoelaces because all of a sudden he was just fighting back and he gave Swerve this awesome German suplex for a 2 count. I can't think of any German words today. I'm just too sick. Swerve then went for the JML driver, but Wheeler got out of that and hit the most devastating move of all Spencer Entertainment. Then he hit this cool looking angle slam thingamajig, and just for a brief second I was like, are they gonna let Wheeler Yuta win? And that would be quite a surprise. I was totally wrong though, because even though Swerve kept trying to go for this JML driver, eventually they were kind of tussling over each other when they accidentally hit the referee. But as soon as Strickland realized this, he looked left, he looked right, and he booted Wheels right in the balls. He hit that driver 1, 2, 3, and you could just see on his face, he didn't give a shit. I really did enjoy this though, because going back to what we just talked about, I do think it established Swerve as like a bad guy that we should all hate. And if you've ever seen Strickland in other promotions where he does this kind of stuff, he is so good at it. He always thinks outside the box. So I think we're all in for a treat if we do give him this freedom, giving it an up. Which did indeed bring us to the end of Rampage, and I'm just going to give it an up. And I know this was a bit of a lackluster episode, but honestly, I have to sit down. I barely have any air in my lungs. I don't want to die on YouTube. So very, very quickly, please like the video, share the video, subscribe, whatculture.com, watch SmackDown Ups and Downs, follow us on social media. Just have a good time. Have a good end of 2022. Have an awesome 2023. I do appreciate all your support, and I'll see you next year.